This video contains spoilers. Take 5. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. On today's episode of me talking about stuff and things, I am going to be going over episode 6 of Naked and Afraid Spain. Episode 7 is the finale, so it'll be interesting to see who makes it, even though judging by the commercial for next week that they showed at the end of episode 6, we kind of know who will make it to the end, but we shall see. I've been wrong before. There are links in the description if you want to check those out. Thank you so much if you do. And on to the episode. So last week I was saying how, Ganise and Adrian are moving and Jose and Ainara are moving. Again, I apologize if I pronounce these names wrong. And I was saying, they're probably going to meet, but it could be a misdirect. And I was completely wrong about that, as I'm wrong about many things. And so Ganise and Adrian make it to the lake first that they were going to, which was kind of a midway point for extraction. And we see them arguing a lot. There's a lot of tension between those two. I don't know exactly what's going on, but Ganise is calling Adrian lazy. Adrian is questioning Ganise's everything. And so there's just a lot of bickering. They don't blow up at each other, but there's just a lot of tension. They kind of bicker. They're not screaming, but there's a point where Ganise is asking Adrian to kind of move the vegetation out of the way. And Adrian's like, with what? My hands are full. Do you want me to move the vegetation out of the way like this? And Ganise was calling Adrian lazy, and we see a lot of shots of Adrian kind of lying down, but the challenge is very difficult, so I wouldn't blame individuals for napping. I don't know exactly what goes on out there. I'm sure there may have been moments where Ganise was doing a little bit more in that moment and wanted Adrian to do something, but I don't know exactly what happened. I don't want to make assumptions about everybody. I want to give everyone the benefit of the doubt because the edit is there and it exists, but you never know exactly what all happened. And I guess fortunately for them, Jose and Ainara come in and kind of ease some of that tension. Adrian kind of goes off by himself and is saying how Ganise is happier with the other two there. Ainara kind of sympathizes with Adrian because she and Jose butted heads a lot at the beginning, but they're okay now. And so we kind of see Ainara and Adrian kind of linking up, and then we see Jose and Ganise kind of linking up, and they're building a shelter, and Adrian and Ainara are kind of criticizing it, but Jose is like, hey, let's do it like this because you're not offering any alternatives. He is a little frustrated about that, but Ganise is kind of on board with him, and Ainara and Adrian kind of bond over that. And in the commercial for next week, we kind of see that the shelter does kind of fall over, and I'm sure that'll be blamed on Jose, and Jose will be like, well, no one else offered anything, so whatever. And then with Antonio and Alba, Antonio's kind of going downhill some more. He tries to catch a caiman, but unfortunately, he's unable to get it, which is really upsetting. And in the commercial for next week, we see him kind of... Oh, I also wanted to say that this takes place between night 14 and night 17, kind of early morning, day 18. So they have about 3-ish days left. And in the commercial for next week, we see Antonio seeming like he's going to tap. But then they show Atenea merging with the groups because Alba and Antonio kind of get to the lake first. And we see Antonio in the lake with the other survivalists. So I don't know if there's a point later on where... it's very confusing. I don't think Antonio is tapping, but I think someone is tapping next episode because we see him talking to producers, so it's unfortunate. But going back to Antonio and Alba, Antonio is unable to get the caiman. He chops down a palm to get the heart of palm, but it goes in the water and it's not working out for him, so it's just a lot of things not really working out for him, and he's getting very upset, and Alba is trying to encourage him to keep going. And in the commercial, we do see Antonio seemingly tapping, but maybe there's a moment of epiphany, or maybe he's saying he does feel this way, but he's not going to give up just yet. I don't know. I hope he makes it to the end, but we shall see. But there's a lot of storms throughout the last 2 nights of the episode. I believe day 16 and 17, there's really big storms at night. So that's kind of beating down the survivalists. And then with Iñaki and Antonea, Iñaki's just mentally going downhill. He's not able to get himself out of this darkness in his head because he's saying he has really nothing to prove. and he has been feeling this way for a while. So unfortunately, based on the commercial, it seems like he is tapping because he just can't deal with the mental strain that it's causing him. Again, I don't know exactly what's happening. He has his own thoughts and ideas that may not being portrayed, and he might have some other reason for leaving. But I think that he does leave next episode and taps on day 18. And we have seen a few times where there are some late stage tappers where just they're not able to build themselves mentally, and with the inability to do certain things, you kind of like go into a downward spiral and tap like Justin's partner in No Holds Barred and Lacey in her solo challenge. They were just kind of like, there's not really much for me to do. I mentally just can't cross that final hurdle. So they left, and it looks like Iñaki is leaving and leaving Antonia by herself, which is very upsetting because she was talking about maybe leaving as well, but we see her merge with the larger group. So I think she makes it. So I think that Adrian, Ganise, Jose, Ainara, Alba, Antonia, and Antonia all make it. It was a very interesting episode. It mainly focused on the arguments that Adrian and Ganise were having, and then it focused on the merge between all of them and how some of the progress that Ainara and Jose made kind of backslid a little bit because Ainara and Adrian think that Jose is really bossy, and Jose is saying how no one else is really contributing to ideas, so let's just do it this way kind of thing. And with that, that is the end of the episode. There's some fighting, some bonding. Antonio and Iñaki are talking about tapping. Antonia kind of played around with the idea of tapping. Next episode is the last episode. All in all, I think a really good season. I think all the survivalists are very dynamic, but since, some of the groups aren't merging, they weren't really focused on during this episode, and it was mainly about mental health and all that good stuff. And thank you all so much for listening. Please like, comment nice things, and subscribe, and click the next video if it's mine. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.